All right, we should be going live, so we'll
Yeah.
just wait a couple of seconds if anyone wants to join. I'm gonna just double check it on Twitter.
Yeah.
You can post it if you want on your Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we're live.
We are live. Look at us go.
You can see us on Twitter.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, nice. Um, I'll put it in Discord. All right, so there's that. And then I'm going to just share it on Twitter.
Yeah, mate. Where'd he go? Can't hear you.
How about
Yeah.
now?
Yeah, I can hear you then.
Okay, sweet. All right. Oh, sorry. I was just sharing it on Twitter and Discord, and we should be good to go. All right. So I guess we'll start with just a quick, intro of obviously being the first episode. You and I have been friends for a long time now. Grew up in primary school, in high school, and we've both been really into MMA and just overall sports for quite a while. I personally run a paid service, a tipping service that doesn't solely revolve around MMA. Just for anyone who else doesn't know, there's a few other sports and there's a few other cappers in there that do their own sports, and it's an all-encompassing service. But yeah, been wanting to start an MMA sort of analysis podcast for a while, and wanted to do it with you. And yeah, we finally got on here for an episode of that happened to be UFC Vegas 100, a pretty big milestone in terms of mediocrity, I suppose. Thought we'd jump on and just have a chat about the fights, break them down, give everyone who's watching an idea of what we're thinking and betting, and go from there. But anyway, tell us a little bit about yourself, Ryan, and then we'll get into it.
Yeah, mate. So yeah, we've known each other since kindergarten. We weren't in the same friendship groups, but I think we were in a few classes together, like modern history, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That was good. And yeah, we just reconnected a few years after school because we realized we were both into MMA, UFC, and we were talking about podcasts as early as back then, 2017, but not from a betting perspective. And it's pretty cool now. We're both into capping our MMA, and what a good time to start a betting podcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just quickly, I work in broadcasting for Win and Sky Sports, but on my days off, I am handicapping MMA fights.
Yeah, nice. And you've had a really good year so far. I mean, my year on MMA has probably been the worst I've had since I've started, a good 2 or 3 years ago. Just in terms of props being really, really hit and miss these days. So I've transitioned to sort of money lines only at the moment, just because of how tough it is. But you're doing a whole range of things with parlays and stuff like that, and having quite a bit of success.
Yeah, I always kept it simple with money lines. It's just such a volatile sport. But that's your betting style. It's all variance based. The props, they work really well for Dana White Contender Series, and they have served you well for so long. It's just a weird time in MMA right now, especially with this whole new gloves.
Yeah, the last 3 months have just been bizarre. Some outcomes I just thought would never happen, in terms of less violence, I guess. So it's been a tricky period, but I don't know. It doesn't feel like we're coming out of it to me. Like
No.
I don't think we're coming out of it just yet. So yeah. Anyway, all
Yeah,
right. Let's get into breaking down these fights, eh?
yeah, mate.
Right. So we should be. You can see that, all right?
Yeah, it's sort of small. I'll deal with it.
Okay, sweet. So anyway, so the first fight we've got is it might be Melissa Mullins versus Claudia Saigula, but you and I both don't really have a strong
No.
read on this one. I know that. I mean, it's women's MMA. How could you?
Not at all.
I mean, I haven't been overly impressed with Melissa Mullins, previously Melissa Dixon, just yet in the UFC anyway. That loss to Nora Knoll is a pretty not the best look, I don't think.
She was favourite in that too.
Yeah, she was like minus 200 upwards, which is pretty insane. But yeah, like I said, I don't really have a strong read on this one. I've done no tape on Saigula. I don't know who she is. I've heard she's pretty average.
Her last fight was a custom rules fight.
Yeah, right. Well, it served Yusuf Zalal well.
Yeah, you're right.
He had those 3 fights in one night.
Yeah, so let's see Saigula come in on a 3-fight submission streak.
Yeah, I don't. There's not much I really want to say on that one, so I reckon we just skip that and get into the first real fight. So the first fight we've got here, we've got Trayshawn Gore taking on Antonio Trocoli. So Trayshawn Gore is coming in here off a 2-year hiatus. I don't actually know what his hiatus is for. I'm assuming it's an injury, but he's already very green in his career, being 5-2, and now he's taking on Trocoli, who has had quite a few bouts scheduled and cancelled, and had a few before that Shara Magomedov fight over in Abu Dhabi, where he took it on, I think, a couple of days' notice. So let's get my notes up for this one. So yeah, in terms of Trayshawn Gore, he's just a pretty green overall fighter to me. Like, he's very slow, he's plotty, he's reactionary, he's low volume. Like I said, we haven't seen him in over a year, so could be potentially a good thing given how green to the sport he was. And although he hasn't, fought in competition since then, maybe his overall skill level will be better. He does have pretty good power in his hands. He can hurt you for sure, but he just throws so little volume at times, and he's very single shot orientated. So to me, his striking style is really not as effective as it potentially could be. In terms of actual UFC experience, I do think his fight with Battle has aged pretty well. He was very competitive there. He was actually putting it on him for quite a while. Had really big moments, but again, just lost minutes. So, yeah, don't really have a massive lean to Trayshawn Gore as a fighter overall. I think he's fine and he's very athletic, but other than that, he's not amazing. Onto Trocoli, for me, just really much of a nothing fighter. Like, I think people might be trying to get on him here because he overperformed his price tag against Shara. And when I went into this, I was sort of trying not to let that cloud my judgment on, the kind of fighter you think he is when you see like a plus 300 and he kind of performs and has a little bit of success against a guy like Shara. Because he's really not that good anywhere. Like, he's very basic everywhere. He has a massive frame, and he'll use it to wear on you in the clinch really well. As he tries to get the fight down to the mat with, he's got some decent trips and foot sweeps and stuff, and basically to submit you. I think that's his number one way to win. And to me, he's kind of just like the poster boy for, like, how people say tall men's defense.
Yeah.
He is the poster boy for that. Like, zero head movement, so hittable. Moving backwards, he's just a big punching bag. For me, it's kind of hard to be enthused on really either side. Like, we haven't seen Gore against anyone good. We haven't really seen Trocoli against anyone good either besides Shara. I think Trocoli might have grappling upside, but I don't think he's like a great wrestler. And Gore's counter wrestling, to me, has looked pretty decent. I definitely can't get to Gore at like a minus 200 or whatever he is at this point. So I'm pretty happy to pass. What's your read?
Yeah, Trayshawn Gore should not be a 2-1 favorite against anyone. He's So his one UFC win was a standing guillotine to Josh Fremd. I don't really rate Josh Fremd, but that was a pretty brutal
Oh my God, man.
submission.
Oh, watching that back was horrific.
Yeah. Before that, he had a loss to Cody Brundage.
Yeah.
Like, it can't be 2-1 and having a loss to Cody Brundage, right? His main attributes: strength, physicality. He's definitely got the power advantage in his fight. He's got good wrestling and top control when he like uses it. Like sometimes he just tends to, like you said, he's low volume. He'll just kind of skirt around. He has no process in the stand up, so he just stays there and just tries to land that one shot.
100% agree.
Stalks his fighter. There's not really like, he doesn't cut off the cage well, from what I've seen. And Antonio Tricoli, he's like you said, he overperformed against Shara. And in that fight, he made it to round 3, but it was just because of the grappling and like the exchanges on the ground, like his attempts to get him down.
And to be fair, I think like in that Shara fight, he gassed out like horrifically. We know that, but in that second round, he could have potentially won that fight if he got that fight to the ground when Shara did that cage grab. He could submit him there potentially. You just never know. Sorry, continue.
So the first time we saw Antonio Tricoli was in 2019. I think he won that fight in Dana White Contender Series, but it was overturned because he was juicing. And since 2019, he's only had 2 fights since then. One against some low-level guy that he just easily submitted, and one against Shara. So I think he's pretty unproven. And the only thing we can take away from him is that he lost to the third round with Shara. He's got a weak stand-up game. Like, he's 6'5", but he doesn't have like a good jab. He doesn't really have like a good stand-up to keep a guy like Tresean Gore away from him, which is why like I do lean the Gore side. Don't know if I have a bet on this fight, but his physicality and strength edge, I can just see, like, if these guys clinched up, I think Gore like has the advantage because of the strength edge. And if Tricoli's trying to take him down, can't get him down, but then thinks he can accept guard and maybe try to get a reversal out of that, I think that's a possibility. But Gore has good top control, and I do see him dominating at some point if he gets to the top. But I don't really want to bet on this fight. I think Gore decision.
Yeah, it's a tricky one to get an overall read on. Like, I definitely think Gore's going to have big moments where he's landing massive shots on Tricoli. I think Tricoli can probably take them for the most part. Like, he looks like he's got a really good chin. He's fit. He's got that massive frame. I think he might have a bit of success in the clinch. Like, Gore is just so easily backed up that I think he probably could get into the clinch and just sort of win minutes by holding him there. But is he going to do it for 15 without gassing? Maybe, because he's juicing. I don't know. He's also had 3 fights. You might have forgot that he got arrested for bashing Mackenzie Dern's ex-husband.
Of course.
So he's getting reps in outside the octagon too, which I like. He seems like his head's in the game in terms of being fully committed and not being arrested and stuff like that. So, this is just a massive pass fight. I'd be shocked if I end up with anything on this one.
Could look at an overs, could look at non-violence. Like, if you were on a Tresean Gore side, if there's any like, plus money on like a decision, is this favored to go to distance, do you think?
Let me have a look. So Tresean Gore it says about minus 185, minus 200, and under 2.5 is favored. Minus 140.
Minus 140. Yeah, so I could look at an over 2.5 or a fight goes the distance. Like, this stage of UFC, with all the decisions coming up, I'd look at that if anything.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. All right, happy with that. Want to move on to the next?
Yeah, mate.
Beautiful. All right, so next we have Cody Stamann taking on Damon Blackshear at bantamweight. So we've got Cody Stamann, who's 21-7-1, and then we've got Damon Blackshear, who's 14-7-1. Kind of surprising seeing Damon's record like that, because he actually has beat like some good guys. Eddie's had some really good performances in the UFC overall.
He's pretty good for his record. Like,
yeah, for a 14-7 record, he's much better than
Yeah.
that would reflect. So he's coming in here off the back of getting completely starched by Montel Jackson in 20 seconds. I had a play
Don't
on
remind
Damon.
me.
Yeah, I had a play on Damon in that fight at Dog Money. I just thought he's probably going to have some grappling success and be able to wear the shots. I didn't think he'd go down that quickly. So
That was like what, 30 seconds? Or
not even 18 seconds, I reckon.
Jesus.
Yeah, and that was in July. So he's coming back, 4 or 5 months after, 4 months getting knocked out pretty bad. So don't love that for him here. Coming in against Cody Stamen, who I think it's probably fair to say he's regressed quite a bit in his career overall. Just age and miles on the clock and stuff like that. I'm not really too interested in this fight. Like, I think I favour Damon just off pure size and physicality at this point. But I think it is probably a pretty close fight, like wherever it plays out. I just think Damon's probably going to do more. Like, I think neither of them are great technical strikers, but I think Damon is longer. He throws with a bit more power. A little bit, the volume's pretty similar, as you can see on the screen there. But like I said, I don't really love him returning 4 months after getting stopped pretty bad. I can't get anywhere near a Damon play. He is sitting at minus 275, it says for me.
275.
Yeah. I think he's a side because I do think he's going to win, but I think Stamen's probably like a value loser in this spot. He's just he struggles to do damage. He doesn't separate. He wears damage really badly. Like, I could see him potentially winning the third round just with pace and aggression, like if it got there. But I think Damon's like the way more dangerous grappler for sure. I think if anyone's going to get a knockout, it'd probably be Damon, given that Cody doesn't really knock guys out besides Eddie Wineland, really. Like, hasn't had another one in the UFC that I can remember for quite a while.
No.
Yeah, that's my read. I think Blackshear's the side, but I couldn't get to him minus 275. No chance.
Yeah. Yeah, Cody Stamen, he's been in the UFC since 2017, and I feel like we've seen him grow up in the octagon, right? He's always shown potential, but never quite lived up to it. In his early UFC run, his only loss was to Aljo, and he had a draw to Song Yadong. But since 2020, he's gone 3-5, albeit his 5 losses have been to like pretty good competition. Jimmy Rivera, Merab, Saeed Nurmagomedov. I totally butchered that name. Saeed Nurmagomedov, Douglas Silva de Andrade, and Taylor Lapulus. And he was only finished by Nurmagomedov by guillotine choke, I think.
Yeah.
You get caught up in that, like
quick front choke, yeah.
Yeah. Look, he always puts in a valiant effort, like showing like toughness and grit. And one thing I find really interesting with Cody Stamen is, so he's had nearly 7 years, about 7 years in the UFC, plenty of fights, and he has about a 60% defense percentage, which is at this level is pretty like exceptional, right? In this like division and like the level of competition he's fighting. But he just can't seem to put together like 2 winning rounds in these fights, and he tends to just coast and make it to the final bell without like he just wants to like stay safe at some point in the fight. It's unfortunate because he's like decent everywhere, but just not great anywhere. And his height and reach disadvantage definitely doesn't help. And this week he's up against Damon Blackshear, who has all the physical advantages against him. He's 5'10", 72-inch reach, younger, and I feel he is the more dynamic fighter. Mixes up his strikes from distance kicks to from distance kicks, and he's pretty good at pocket exchanges, good entries in grappling, and good clinch control. He had a really good performance against Mario Batista. I know he lost that fight, but did you watch that?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did really well in that fight. I thought if he rallied a bit harder, he could have won that. But in that fight, he used these teep kicks, which kept him at range, and I think that's going to be a big weapon for him in this fight, because it's hard to hit Cody like clean on the head, and he likes to like jump around, stay safe, but he uses those teep kicks. It keeps him at range, saps his energy, stifles like forward attack. But the only thing with Damon is, like, for as good as he is, like, he is pretty hittable. When the opponent is throwing like extended combos and sequences, that's where he can get hit. But luckily for him, Cody is not a combination puncher. He doesn't go on the first, second, third sequence. He kind of just, like, the closest thing you'll see from combination and like sequence striking from him is against Eddie Wineland, and that was just him unloading against the fence, and his punches are just like that.
I mean, that's what. Is he going to be the guy that's going to, like, use feints and setups and traps and make them on, like, walk into something big?
No.
I don't think so. He's going to be the guy that throws an overhand right, and if it connects, maybe he hurts him. But, like,
Yeah.
that's what it is. That's what it's down to for me. Like, with those little T-Rex arms, he's not technical. Maybe he'll have a pure wrestling advantage, maybe, but I feel like
he's good on the ground.
Yeah, he's good on the ground, and he's a fine wrestler too, and he's bigger and he's more physical. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you've got more to say, but
Yeah, well, so he's got 9 submission wins, and I think he does have slicker grappling, though. Like, Cody has his like accolades in wrestling. I do have a soft spot for Cody, but I don't think at this stage of his career he's like changed up anything in his game and his style and tendencies. More so, if anything, like, the only thing he can improve at this point is his work rate and cardio. I think Black Shear has it covered, and I think if he puts in a good, consistent 15 minutes, he can win by decision. Like, I think it'll be a decision.
you think, yeah, so you're leading decision for Black Shear?
Yeah, I don't know if I'll play it.
Yeah, there's a few interesting odds. Like, Black Shear by submission plus 400 is, like, kind of intriguing. It's not the greatest number. Like, it's not big enough where I'm like an autoplay.
Yeah,
Because Cody is, like,
it's hard to finish.
yeah, he's hard to finish. He's a dog, man. He's gritty, and Black Shear, like, kind of does fall off he does fatigue most of the time in round 3. Like, he's not as good round 3 as he is round 1. Nowhere near. Yeah, plus 400 is probably not good enough to get me involved. Under 2.5 is plus 285, but when it gets that big for an under, it kind of does get intriguing to me, especially when a guy like Damon's coming off a 20-second pretty bad knockout a couple of months ago. If it was against someone more dangerous than Cody, I'd obviously be a bit more interested. There's not anything I love, so I'm pretty happy to sort of just pass and see how we go.
Yeah, I'll only like really look at the decision prop for Black Shear. Other than that,
Black Shear by decision is
that's my lean.
Minus 115, it says, by unanimous decision.
Minus 115.
Yeah, it's not great.
Not great, yeah.
It's not great. All right, let's move on to the next one. So we have honestly a pretty fun fight here. I was really excited to break this one down. We've got Matt Semmelsberger, who is 11-7, which is kind of crazy to say. Like, he's almost a 50-50 fighter. Taking on Charles Radke, who I have a very soft spot for. I saw him live in Sydney when he dropped the infamous F-bomb, and it was so funny.
2 F-bombs that night.
Oh, man, him and Manel, like, I could not stop laughing in the crowd when he said that. So we've got Radke coming in here off the back of a loss to Carlos Prates, who's in the main event, obviously. I don't think that's a terrible look overall. Like, he just got caught clean, man. There's not much you can do when that liver shot hits you clean. Like, it just shuts you down. And he was competing pretty well, I would say, before that. So it's not like the worst loss that you could have. He just seems to, what I seem to find Radke is he kind of gets a little bit disrespected by the odds makers, I think. Him as a 165 underdog, plus 165 underdog to Gilbert Urbina was criminal. Like, how the hell do you line Gilbert Urbina as a moderate favourite against Radke? I don't understand. I wouldn't have Gilbert Urbina as a moderate favourite against anyone. So we cashed massive on him to finish and just his money line in that one, and he looked really, really good. And you've obviously got Matt Semmelsberger, who he's fighting here, coming off. He's had 3 L's in a row, so he needs to win this. Otherwise, he's probably gone from the UFC, I'd say. In terms of an overall read on both guys, Charles Radke, he's pretty much just a heavy set boxing style, I'd say. Like he does the old like lower feint quite a bit. He jabs from the outside. I'd say he's like relatively low volume overall. He's got pretty good power in his hands. His best shot is definitely his left hook, which he catches a lot of guys with, because I think he doesn't like bring it back sometimes off the jab. He'll throw the jab and then he'll like throw the hook from out. So it kind of catches a lot of guys off guard a bit. I don't think he's like particularly great defensively. Like he can slip some shots, but overall it's not like a heap of head movement. And I do think he has sort of slow reactions, which means he doesn't see shots coming that well. He does get caught and hurt quite a bit, especially when he's at a speed disadvantage. I think he's pretty good everywhere, I'd say. Like he's not amazing in one area, but he's going to compete everywhere, which I like in a fighter. Like I said, hard to lose stock from that Prates loss. Like as I said, he competed pretty well overall. And to be fair, if you watch that fight back, Prates was looking for that knee to deliver the whole fight. Like he threw it, I want to say like at least 10 times, and Radke handled it relatively well up to that point. Like he ate a few of them, didn't really show any tells. But how Prates got him was he made him bite really, really hard on the rear right hand up top. He hurt him with a shot, and then he showed it again. Radke covered up a bit, and he just went bang, step in with that knee and just caught him so nasty. Again, it's not the worst loss. Like, in saying that, I do think Radke's durability is a little bit questionable for me. We haven't seen him massively tested in the UFC, but I have definitely seen him hit and hurt really bad on the regional scenes, plus some lower level guys. So a little bit of a concern on that one overall. I think his wrestling's pretty average. Like, struggled against Blood Diamond against the cage, which is not a great look. But I also think Radke has kind of franked to that form a bit, in where it was shorter notice. It was his UFC debut. He had to travel. Like, there was a few mitigating circumstances to me that I don't think he performed his best. He's pretty good in the clinch. He lands good elbows on the breaks and hooks in close. So I do think if this fight spends time in the clinch, I don't mind it here for Radke, because I think he's pretty dangerous there. His submission grappling is just okay. He's pretty good when he gets the back. But I do think you can survive with him on the ground if everything's equal, in terms of like if he's not hurting you first or you're like massively damaged before you go down there. On to Semmelsberger, like it is kind of hard for me to get an overall read on this guy. Like his record is awful. And if you look at his wins in the UFC, they're kind of like the worst guys that you could imagine, besides Jake Matthews, who's like up and down, and that was a pretty good win. He's only beat AJ Fletcher, who is like a midget, Martin Sano, who was, if you remember, Nick Diaz's mate, who came in and got knocked out in 15 seconds. And then you've got Jason Witt, who he knocked out in 16 seconds, and Carlton Minus as well. So it's like a pretty weak overall strength of schedule, but Radke's isn't too much better, so I guess you can't say much there. I do see like good things in his games at times in terms of natural ability. Like he's got good power. He's decently fundamental, I'd say, with his boxing. He's an orthodox boxer. You know, that's really about it. Like he's got good power in his rear right hand, and he actually hurts like everyone he gets in there with, even if he doesn't finish. You know what I think about Semmelsberger? I just think he's got like major fight IQ issues. He's just dumb, man. Like in the Medic fight, Medic took that on short notice. It was a high elevation, and Semmelsberger was cooking him round 1 and 2, like landing bad on him, and probably could have finished the fight, but he kept ignoring his corner's advice and following Medic to the ground. He also like lost at high elevation after 5 minutes to Medic, which is like, I think that's just a terrible look. I think you have to question his takedown defense. Like he's just got really low level overall grappling, where he might be able to stuff like the first entry, but if you re-wrestle and chain your attempts together, I think you can get him down and you can out-scramble him. And when you pair this with his like low overall IQ, he'll jump Gilly in spots. He'll just make dumbass decisions. So it's kind of hard to want to back him. I have seen him taken down with like just a real basic level of trips and throws and foot sweeps. And honestly, to me, most of his game is sort of just centered around the fact that he's like really physical and athletic. Overall, I think it's a good fight. It seems pretty close. I could see both guys having success on the feet. I think Semmelsberg is faster and he's got more power, and Chuck is pretty hittable, and he's got a questionable chin, so I could see him hurting Chuck Buffalo pretty bad. I also think Radke could probably land on Semmelsberg with a big hook when moving forward, and I also think he's probably got the wrestling and grappling upside. Radke's not like a guy I love to back at favourite odds, so I'm leaning towards a pass. Although I think Radke's probably the side, but I'm interested to see what Radke TKO looks like, and I'm also interested to see what they set the under as, because I think both guys are live to finish each other. It could be like a gross one where they hurt each other and sort of fade to a decision, but I think Radke's probably got submission upside, and I think Semmelsberger has TKO upside on Chuck too, so I'm kind of interested in the under. What do you think about this fight?
Yeah, like I like what you said about the low IQ of Semmelsberger. Like I just feel like he doesn't really build into fights. Like his success is reliant on him winning in a dogfight, and if the other guy doesn't fade, like that's where he just thrives, right? But if the other guy is like, if his opponent can adjust to Semmelsberger's style, then like he kind of just goes forward, and there's no real plan, no real process. Yeah, Semmelsberger is coming out of fuck. He's like 1 win and 4 losses in his last 5. Didn't forgot about that. He's coming back from time off. I think I read like from a arm injury.
Semmelsberger.
Yeah, I think I read that. Anyway.
Yeah, it could be. He's been out since January of this year. So
yeah,
what's that? 9-10 months.
Yeah, 10 months. Look, I think his best days are way behind him. He just shows up with the same game plan, never quite adapts. Like he's a gritty pressure fighter. He thrives in a dogfight, throws everything with power, like or sets up for power. But yeah, he can fight in both stances. Works great in the tie clinch, but he's too reckless. Leaves his hands down. He's not a good minute winner. Pretty flat-footed, and he's got poor takedown defense, I think. But if he does get on top, like he has like good top control. That's the thing. Yeah, he's up against Charles Radke. I'm pretty sure we had a bet on him against Prates.
Yeah, 100%. I thought submission was very live in that, but he didn't have any wrestling success at all.
Yeah, and like what we know about Prates now is he's the real deal. But back then, we just saw a pretty dodgy performance against Trevin Giles, where like he was getting touched up on the feet, and he just found that finish. So yeah, I think we definitely underestimated Prates there, but I really like Chuck Buffalo. I like his post-fight speeches too. Surprisingly, he's the older fighter here. He's 34. Semmelsberger is 31. And like I do see like similarities in the fact that they can both thrive in brawls, but I think Radke is the better pressure fighter. He's got like good power, and he marches forward intelligently. Like he feints into range. He's like changing levels, and he unloads like 2 to 3 punch combos. Usually like a 2-3, like right hand and left hook. He's got a really good left hook. Like that Urbina KO was really clean, and he dropped Blood Diamond, I think, in the second round through like after he like frustrated him with the wrestling and got him tired, and he got him against the fence, hurt him a few times. And yeah, I think I don't have the best read on this fight, like because both are so wild and kind of unpredictable at times. But yeah, grappling upside, I'd go Charles Radke. And in this fight, just through momentum and Semmelsberger coming off some rough losses, and Radke having some nice wins and having that one loss against Prates, no shame in that, really. I think this might be a bounce back spot for Radke. Might play out close early, but I think Radke is just defensively more responsible. He's got smarter pressure, throws with tighter combos, and I think I see him countering Semmelsberger. Like he kind of just leaves his chin there, doesn't bring his hands back up. That's Semmelsberger, that is. And Radke has a bit more of a process on the feet. So I think I see a club and sub situation, to be honest, sometime in round 2 when the fight is wearing on Matthew Semmelsberger.
I could definitely see that. I mean, look, I guess like if this stays on the feet, like I don't think Radke's a brilliant wrestler. Like I think he can mix things in sometimes and have some success. He's good against the cage because he's big and he's strong and he's physical. But if he can't get this to the ground, I don't know. I feel like he might struggle with Semmelsberger's speed. Like Semmelsberger has fast hands, man, and Semmelsberger. If you remember that Jake Matthews fight, he sat him down like 2 or 3 times, really, really badly.
Yeah,
and I think Matthews is like a pretty relatively good overall fundamental boxer. Like he's got good fundamentals. He throws straight well. He's got good hand speed, and Semmelsberger beat him to the punch a lot. So I think if Radke keeps this a pure striking fight, I think Semmelsberger is going to have an opportunity to land pretty big on him. Whether or not he finishes him, I'm not sure because Radke is pretty tough. But I think Radke sort of needs to grapple to win.
Yeah.
So in terms of a straight money line play, I'd probably lean Radke. I think minus 155 is playable for sure. I also think under 2.5, minus 105 plus 100 area. I actually quite like that because I think Semmelsberger could knock him out at any point. I also think I think Radke could knock him out or sub him. I think Semmelsberger could probably also knock him out. So I think it's not a bad look. I haven't settled on a single play for this one yet, but that's what I'm thinking anyway.
Yeah, same here. I haven't settled on anything. Maybe like if you leaned Radke, it'd be in the distance, or Semmelsberger if you want to take the dog shot on him. Then I think that's, there's a world where that happens. But yeah, I haven't settled on any bets for this fight. But if I do, I'll post on my Twitter.
Yeah, nice. All right, so next we have a bantamweight bout, which is just bizarre that Cortavius is fighting at bantamweight because he is tiny. We've got Gaston Bolaños taking on Cortavius Romius. So this is Cortavius Romius's UFC debut after 2 Dana White Contender Series fights. So some people will probably remember him from there when he got cleaned up in round 1 by what was his name?
Ramon Tavares.
Tavares, that's it. Yeah, he got absolutely cleaned up by Tavares. That was not this year. It was the year before.
Yeah. Do
you remember we had him in that fight? We had Tavares round 1.
I think that was before my time.
Yeah, right. We had him round 1 versus Cortavius, and it was like plus 1,000, I think. Oh. And it was just the best watch, man. It was such a good watch.
Was he favorite?
Yeah, he was a favorite, minus 225 favorite. Yeah, crazy. So he's 9-2 in his career. He's coming in here after a decision win on Dana White's Contender Series against Michael Imperato, who I think is just pretty average. I wasn't really impressed with what I saw from Cortavius in that fight, to be honest. I thought he should have finished him. Taking on Gaston Bolaños, who is returning here after a pretty brutal finish loss to Marcus Magny at the start of the year. He absorbed a lot of damage in that fight, so it's good to see him have some time off. All right, let me just grab my notes on this one. Yep, so Gaston Bolaños, he is more or less just a Muay Thai striker. That's what his background is. Can fight out of both stances, happy to switch very frequently, mix things up on the feet. I'd say he's like a fine kickboxer. He's nothing amazing. He's got good speed and throws with relatively good technicality, I'd say. But he's not amazing. Like, he's got okay kicks and just decent hands overall. I don't think he's particularly amazing there. I don't think he showed great takedown defense so far. I'd say he's a pretty weak grappler overall, definitely a vulnerability there.
Yeah, he's been taken down 4 times in the UFC. so far in
Yeah.
2 fights.
Yeah, so I just think he's really bad when he's moving backwards, particularly like his footwork and his defensive style just really lead him into trouble there. He's pretty gritty, and although like you can hurt him, you really have to sort of put him down to stop him. Like McGee was touching him up a lot of that fight, and he was fighting back pretty well. I just think he's got low fight IQ overall too. Like he made I don't know if you went back and watched the Aaron Phillips fight, but he made that fight so much harder for himself than it had to be in every single way. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't love him. I don't think he's amazing. He's 32 and only had 11 fights in MMA. Yeah, not a strong read on Bolaños, but hard to be enthused about a guy like that. In terms of Cortavius Robius, he's a southpaw kickboxer. He likes to fight in kicking range, especially if he's versing orthodox versus southpaw, because his rear leg kick is definitely his best offensive weapon. He'll explode into range with combinations, not really very technical at all, but if he gets you against the cage, I do like the way he throws in combinations. I think a big power puncher is definitely going to exploit his defense at some point. Like I've had that read on him for a while, hence why I played Tavares round 1. He's just so defensively liable to get caught with his chin up
I agree.
and just eat massive shots. His defense is terrible. There's no other way to put it. So that's why I do think someone could take advantage of it. And Bolaños is like a relatively good striker, so potentially it could be him. He's just a wild dude early. Like he comes out swinging hard and fast, and he could have success catching Bolaños off guard a bit here. I think. I do think that he has quite a huge grappling edge for him, though. He's got a dangerous guard. He catches a lot of guys in a lot of submission attempts, especially with his like triangle, armbar, transition submissions. And given Bolaños has had a history of grappling issues, I think this area is probably where he should look to get the fight and pretty early. In terms of a price, we've got Cortavius Robius at minus 205. I hate that price. For a guy that's chinny, has awful striking defense, isn't an amazing wrestler, and has fought a really low level of competition, I don't love that price at all. To get to that price, he would have to finish Bolaños probably early 1, maybe 2, and I'm just not sure he can do that. So can't get to him at a price. I'd be interested on a Gaston by TKO price. I think there's definitely a path to victory for him there, given how susceptible Romius is to striking. Bolaños to win is only plus 200. Don't love it at all. I'd probably rather just play his money line at plus 175. There's not enough juice on the TKO line for sure. But yeah, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, like you said, it's worrisome that we've seen Romius make his debut, but we've already seen him like flatlined in the octagon in that same building that they're fighting now. I think he's decent. He's well-rounded southpaw, but yeah, he's a bit wild at times, and that's very worrying. So instantly, I was like, all right, I'll have to have a look at this Bolaños guy, see if like there's something I can see in his tape that will let me put a bet on him. But I was watching him. He has a very limited skill set. It doesn't have good takedown defense. He's not great when it hits the ground, but I don't even think he's that great in the stand-up, to be honest. Like his last fight against Marcus McGee, right? Like he was doing his usual thing. He was switching stances, circling around the octagon, and he just chooses his moments to engage. But his like forms of attack is just so basic. Like he throws naked kicks. His kicks are good. Like I'll say that his kicks, they're not like telegraph, but his 1-2s and like straight rights, they're just so predictable. Like you can see them coming from a mile away. And Marcus McGee, like he like got a read on them, and any good counter striker is gonna get a good read on Bolaños coming in. I don't have the best read on how this specific matchup is going to go, but I have to think that Cortavius gets him to the ground. That's his easiest path to the victory here.
For sure.
And I really want to. What's the line on the sub?
For Romeus,
Yeah,
yeah, plus 190.
plus 100,
190.
190, playable. I think. Um, Maybe a unit, 0.75 of a unit. But yeah, I'm just not sold on Romeus. I think he's the side here, but I like you got a more complete athletic fighter who's more explosive and can go pretty hard for 3 rounds against like a guy with a limited skill set. Like Bolanos, when I was watching tape on him, like he had those cool knockouts in Bellator where he was doing spinning attacks and like they were
He will
cool and
spin a
all.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah, he will spin a lot, but then he faces like better opposition and he will struggle or lose to them. So
I know. I just don't think Romeus is good. Like he's
yeah,
he's fast, and he is good on the ground. Like he could sub him for sure. I could definitely see that. Um, he's a way more dangerous fighter on the mat, but he is just terrible on the feet. He enters on center line. Like I think there's a world where I don't know, Cortava's like sort of launches into space with like a 1-2 with a lot of speed, and Bolaños is like escaping to one side and throws a spinning back fist or a spinning elbow or something and catches him.
definitely.
I think there's a world where that happens for sure. Um, and at minus 205, that's just a pretty high price to pay. Under 2.5 is minus 205 as well, which is crazy for bantamweights.
Under 2.5.
Yeah, minus 205. That price is insane.
Yeah, shit might be in overs kind of play, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I think Cortavius should be winning, but there is just no chance I'm getting to a play at that price.
No.
And I wouldn't even be confident in parlaying him. I don't think either. Would you?
No, not really.
Yeah, with a guy that's just that bad defensively and so chinny, just a
Yeah.
worry for sure.
Yeah, he could be a potential parlay buster for the parlay boys.
Yeah, the parlay boys will be loving him. Parlay boys.
But yeah, I don't have too much more to say about that. I will look at a Cortavius sub.
Yeah,
like closer to the day.
Yeah,
but yeah,
yeah. It might drift a little bit. You never know.
yeah.
All right, let's get on to this one. I'm not sure what order this is going in, but
I think this one's on the main card actually.
yeah, I think ESPN MMA run sheet is normally not the best, but anyway, we'll just work off it for now.
No worries.
So this fight now we have Carolina Kowalkiewicz taking on Denise Gomez. I'll just get my notes up on this one. So coming into this fight, we've got Denise Gomez as a big favourite.
How big?
Minus 500.
That's ridiculous.
Versus Carolina Kowalkiewicz at plus 380 area, 360, 385, somewhere around there. Yeah, it's ugly.
I think she'll win, but minus 500, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think I've got a pretty good breakdown for this one too, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. So Denise Gomez, I don't think she's that good, anywhere in MMA. Like, she's good everywhere, but she's not technical at all. She's just blessed with being incredibly physical in WMMA, which is 85% of the battle at this point. Like, if you are, if you're a lesbian basically, and you're butch and you're athletic, you're going to be the champion. That's almost what it feels like at some points.
Being lesbian is the best base for MMA, right?
Yeah. So it's
except if you're Rocky Pennington.
So her technicality means nothing because she's so physical. So she's just going to walk through girls most of the time. I think that's why she struggled in her last fight with Eduardo Mora so much, because she's used to being that aggressor that's bigger and stronger, but she didn't have that in that fight because Eduardo is so big. Like, she was 5'6", I think, and Denise is 5'2", same as Carolina. So I think that's probably why she looked so bad in that last fight. But in saying that, Gomez still had her in quite a lot of trouble at times. She's very good in the clinch. She lands good knees and hooks in close too. And she will look for power submission entries, whether it's a guillotine or a ninja choke. So if you enter poorly on her hips, she's going to rip your head off, basically. I think she can hold a pretty good pace through 15 as well. Eduarda more
She gassed.
gas bad in that fight, and Denise was putting it on her the whole time. So I think she does have pretty good cardio over 15. In terms of Carolina, pretty overall just like an awkward striker on the feet. She's just herky-jerky. She's got pretty poor timing mixed with like shit footwork and speed. She's questionable defensively for me. Low hands, incredibly high chin, especially when moving backwards. She's had a lot of eye troubles as well, whether it's facial fractures or orbitals or, just a history of swelling on her eyes. Not ideal when you're coming in against a power puncher in Denise, who is going to launch on you with big power hooks, similar to, how Lucindo had success against her. I definitely think she's like an effective grappler. She's not athletic, but she's like, you can tell she's knowledgeable on the ground offensively, and she uses it in her game pretty well. I just think she's going to get exploited defensively here against the physicality of Gomez, like whether it's winning scrambles to positions or, submissions. I think she's going to have the edge for sure. I've got a question for you. If I asked you who Denise Gomez, like body type or fighting style or kind of her vibe is most similar to, who would you say?
I don't even know. Like body type, did you say?
Yeah.
Mind blank. I'm having a mind blank here.
Okay. Well, when I look at it, I see Jessica Andrade.
All right. Yeah.
Like she's got the same sort of fighting style, as in like she'll throw like massive power hooks. She's like absurdly physical, and that's where all her win condition comes from.
Yeah.
And she's kind of got that low, that build similar to like a Claudia Gadelha as well.
Yeah.
And both of these girls dispatched Carolina in round one. I think Gomez can land massive power shots here and hurt as well that higher. I don't think Carolina's defense is good enough, and I think she's going to be at a huge speed disadvantage early. She's going to need to wrestle, but if she does, I'm pretty sure Gomez can defend and either look for like a power submission, whether it's a ninja choke or a guillotine or that style of submission. And generally, if Gomez has the physicality edge, she's going to finish you 90% of the time. So I'm really, really interested in Gomez inside the distance plus 220, and I'm very, very curious about Gomez round one plus 550. I think there is huge value on those two plays.
That's tasty.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, when you asked me about like the body type, I was trying to think who's that other fighter that sort of looks like Jessica Andrade, but not as good. Kind of a
now, you mean?
Yeah, now.
Is it Lucindo?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And Lucindo was the one that beat Carolina her last fight.
Yeah, correct. And she was landing massive shots on her early as well and had a wrestling advantage.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. I remember in 2015, 2016 when Carolina came along and there weren't too many like great looking UFC women's MMA fighters. I had a massive crush on her. Like she used to stand, she still does it. She stands like against the cage with her hands back like that. Real cutie. Still all right to this day, but we're catching up with like the good lookers. Got my girl Luana Santos out there. Yeah, so Carolina's been in the UFC since 2015, challenged for a title. And, from 2018, she had like that really rough losing skid, like against Andrade, Grasso, and Xiaonan. Like pretty good fighters. But then she went on a 4-fight win streak where she thought she was revitalizing her career, but that was against Felice Herrig, Gomez Juarez, Vanessa Domopoulos, and Diana Belbita.
And she only just scraped through that Belbita fight too. Like it was close.
Even the Gomez Juarez fight, that was like sort of close too.
Yeah.
At times. But yeah, that streak got broken by Lucindo, where really Carolina really looked her age. Like she's 39 and she looked really slow. Her reactions to getting hit are always so big. She doesn't give good optics to the judges. She always fights as if she's like behind on the scorecard, and whenever she gets hit, she's like, "Oh, I got to get this one back." But then she comes back in with her head like right there. She gets hit again, and I think against someone like Denise Gomes, who's powerful. She's not great, she's not amazing, but like she's just aggressive. And I think physicality, aggression, and just her youth advantage will win her this matchup. She might come forward, might get hit here and there by Carolina's like pitter patter punches, but I think there's going to be bigger optics when she's going forward and Carolina is retreating, visibly frustrated and pissed off. She can't hide her emotions in there. And yeah, I was really thinking about a Gomez in the distance play. And when you said it just then, like I now like really want to.
I think I'm gonna hammer this fight. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like it has I feel like it has huge edges for. I mean, -500 on Gomez feels wild.
Yep.
But if she gets her out of there in round one, she probably covers that price. And I think there's a good chance that she lands massive on her and hurts her at some point and gets her out of there. Like those other numbers I said, you've also got under 2.5 at +240. Like, I feel like I'm going to have about 3 violence plays on this card, on this fight specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Like, could be a huge spot on the card for me, I think.
Yeah, I can totally see that.
The physicality edge is just absurd at this point. Like, especially you said it in her last fight against Lucindo. She looked terrible. She looked like she had aged. She was slow. She didn't react to shots well.
Yeah.
If Denise lands on her, I think she's going to hurt her bad and early.
Yeah. And Denise, sorry to interrupt.
No, you go.
She's knocked out Bruna Brazil and Yasmin Yaragui as well.
I think the Yaragui one, maybe there's a bit of a question on it. Like, I don't think she's proven that she's not durable. But she's sort of dispatched everyone that she needed to. Like, the loss to Loma isn't a massively good one, I don't think.
Yeah.
But Loma's like, she's decent enough to mix things up. Mora, I don't know how that was a split decision. I think she won that pretty well.
Won that clearly.
Yeah, I think she won that easily, like damage wise.
Mora took her down a few times and like controlled her, but like whenever it was standing, it was like clear as day.
And she didn't stop working either when she got taken down. Like, she was consistently moving and advancing positions and stuff like that. So, Denise the side for me. I like Valencia for sure.
Yeah. How do you factor in a loss to Angela Hill, who's a similar age to Carolina?
I don't think Carolina is near as effective, like on the feet, as Angela Hill. I know Hill has no power, but she's going to throw big volume and going to be in your face, and she's physical. Like, she doesn't really give up. She's always moving forward and just throwing volume out and just being in your face. I don't think Carolina. Like, when Carolina feels the power of Denise, I think she is gonna not like it. She's gonna look to wrestle. I think Gomez is gonna stuff it or rip her neck off. Basically, that's how I see it going.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. And Angela Hill, like, she's 39, but she's taking care of herself. She's in top shape. She's never looked old in there. She's done well.
She's a tough fighter, man. Like, a lot of people struggle with her. And Carolina doesn't have that pace or sort of that volume, I don't think, to keep up. So I'm pretty confident in this one.
Yep.
All right, beautiful. So on to what looks like the main card, but potentially might not be. I'll do the quick intro and then I'll let you lead this one. So we have Mansour Abdul Malik taking on Dusko Todorovic. So Mansour's making his UFC debut here after a win on Dana White's Contender Series against Wes Schultz, who is probably one of the worst guys that we saw, I think, on this season, which is saying something because we saw a lot of shit guys. He's making his UFC debut here. He's only 5-0, which is pretty scary, I would say. But coming up against here, Dusko Todorovic is returning from a knee injury in March of 2023. So had quite a lot of time off. Had a bout against Edmund Shabazian scheduled for March this year, and it didn't end up happening. Todorovic pulled out, and now he's back in November. So had quite a lot of time off after the knee injury, which I like. But you lead us off for this one. I'll go second.
Oh, mate, I've straight up just lost my notes on this fight. But
oh, really?
Yeah, like scrolling through, but nonetheless, he did pretty well in the Mansour Abdul Malik, he did really, really well in his Dana White Contender Series fight. Did we have a bet on that to win in round 2 or something?
I can't remember.
Or
But
in the
yeah,
distance?
maybe. Yeah, potentially. I can't remember off the top of my head now.
Yeah, and he out wrestled and outworked Wes Schultz. And Wes Schultz is, I reckon he's going to be decent one day, that guy.
You think?
Yeah, I think, but not in a high level kind of way. He'll just be in like the prelims, like getting like solid wins. Like, I don't know. I think when I was watching tape on him, I thought, yeah, there's potential there, but just can't put it together at the moment. Mansour, he has what's his? Yeah, 6-0. Pretty sure 5 of those fights were done in the first round, and his Contender Series fight was done in the second round. Like, I like his style. He's a bit green on the feet, but like I think he's good enough to trouble Todorovic here. Like, just the power threat and his athleticism. I've never really rated Dusko Todorovic that much. Like, he has like his wins aren't even that great. And remind me who he's lost to again.
Dusko.
Yeah.
Leroy Duncan. That was his last one where he did his knee.
Right.
He lost to Chitty round 1 with a really nasty elbow off the break of the clinch. Yeah, he's lost to Robocop. He lost to Punahele, who knocked him out round 1.
Yeah, that's not a good look, losing to Punahele.
That's a terrible look. He also, that's so weird, he lost to Chitty and Punahele at the exact same time, 4:48 of round 1. That's bizarre. That's bizarre.
Yeah, and could we see the same thing happening here?
But he also, in his fight before the CLD one, he fought Jordan Wright and had a lot of
taken down plenty.
He had a lot of issues there with Jordan Wright, which is not a good look.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I think that's what I said in my notes. Like, he got taken down, and he was nearly he was pretty hurt in that fight too, from memory.
Yeah, he rallied.
Yeah, and he rallied against that. I think this is a spot for Abdul Malik to just demolish this guy in like the first round, if not the second. Like, he's got like really suffocating wrestling. When he's on top, he's just like heavy, and I think he's gonna get Dusko Todorovic out of there pretty quickly, like maybe first round. Yeah,
I'm with you. Like, I'll just read my notes quickly on him. Abdul Malik, like, I'm kind of unsure how to really feel about him. Like, he's super athletic, like ridiculously athletic, and he finishes a lot of guys in round 1. But overall, I just think he's like really green in his skill set. That's for sure what I took from watching tape. Like, you can tell he has talent when you watch him. He looked talented on Contender Series, but I couldn't help but also feel like he might be major fade material at the UFC at a really big price.
1,000,000%.
I don't think it's this fight though. Like, I like his finishing intent. If he hurts you, he knows how to finish a fight. You don't get a second chance with him. He's just insanely physical. He's going to have a huge advantage here. He's not super dangerous in terms of pure submissions on the ground, I don't think. But he is an amazing wrestler, and he's really good at holding position and looking to land big ground and pound. Really, really nasty. Onto Dusko. If he wins, it has to be like a real gritty style of fight where he gets hit a lot and hurt, but manages to grind on his opponent. The issue is like he's not good enough anywhere to be in a dominant fight ever, but he's okay enough everywhere that he can beat lower level of UFC. I think that's my overall read on him. He's terrible defensively. Hands way too low. Chin is super high, especially when he's moving backwards with his like weird ass footwork. He's just going to be at an absurd physicality disadvantage here, and he's way too comfortable playing off his back. He's going to look for leg entanglements. He's going to leave his head exposed. And versus a guy in Abdul Malik who's as nasty with ground and pound than anyone I've seen in quite a while, I really worry for him here. I think this is going to be a nasty one. Dusko's win condition basically is to absorb a huge pace and damage for 7.5 minutes and then take over from there. But I think if he's getting hurt, which he does in every fight, I think there's a really good chance Malik puts him out really badly here. If he ends up on top, he's going to land big ground and pound, and he's going to finish his fight, in my opinion. Minus 340 on a UFC debut. I'm not going to get there from a price perspective, but I do feel like it's a pretty good parlay piece potentially. I
Yeah.
really like under 2.5 for sure, and I think Malik TKO or inside the distance is extremely confident for me here.
Yeah, I think I would use him as a parlay piece. Don't know who I would use him with, but yeah, if I get there, I get there.
Yeah, I'll just quickly have a look at some prices. So under so it's set at 1.5, under minus 1.5. Sorry, under 1.5 rounds is minus 160. It's not a terrible price. Don't love it. Fight ends inside the distance is minus 600. That's crazy. Abdul Malik inside the distance is minus 250, and Abdul Malik TKO is minus 165.
What's sub?
Plus 800.
Plus 800 for sub.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting, isn't it?
You kind of like imagine a world where like Dusko is kind of defending himself right, turns or like goes to his
He rolls to his stomach.
yeah, stomach and then gets a rear naked choke.
I mean, a plus 800, man. If
Might be
if
it.
you think he's going to win inside the distance, and obviously your majority lean would be TKO, but getting plus 800 on a submission when he's probably going to have success on the ground,
Yeah.
oh, interesting.
Could be like a half unit play, right?
Could be, definitely.
How many times has Todorovic been submitted?
He'd never been submitted, but he's only won 3 times.
They've been submitted. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but who? Yeah,
Worth a half unit play, I think.
he's never fought like a solid grappler. Like Gregory Rodriguez, maybe the only one that you could say is like a decent grappler, but even Maki Patolo, nothing. Chitty, nothing. Jordan Wright, nothing. CLD, nothing. Puna, nothing. Yeah, I think that could be a bit of value for sure.
Yeah, and Abdul Malik does have a sub in his. Yeah.
I think he's definitely more inclined to land ground and pound, but at plus 800, man, it's worth a sniff for me, I reckon.
Yeah. Well, then I hope he lands a 12-6 elbow. I really want to see like a 12-6 elbow KO.
Dude, he's going to land something nasty in this fight. I can see it for sure.
Yeah.
All right, next fight, women's strawweight. Is this really on the main card?
I don't think it is.
All right, well, that makes me feel a bit better. All right. So we have Luana Pinheiro taking on Jillian Robertson.
She's made me so much money, Jillian Robertson.
She is certainly a cash cow. So we've got Luana Pinheiro, 11-3, coming in against Jillian Robertson at 14-8, which is a few more losses than you feel like she might have.
Yeah, that was more earlier in her career. Like she's actually done like pretty well, like in this later stage, and she's only like 29.
Yeah, she's still young. She is she's 2-1 in her last 3, but 4-1 in her last 5. Yeah, that's pretty good. But again, it's kind of like low level for me, competition wise. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah, Waterson Gomez last in June. Not much to say there. She dominated her. Surprised she didn't finish her, to be honest. But there also might have been like an element of feeling bad for her.
Yeah, but Waterson, like she can hang in there. That's the thing.
She's gritty. She's gritty for sure. Poliana Viana just dominated her really, wrestling and then ground and pound. Tabitha Ritchie lost, not the worst loss to have. Piero Rodriguez armbar, and then Maria Agapova rear naked choke, which was super nasty if you remember that one.
She's beating the girls that she should beat.
Correct, but I mean, a loss to JJ Aldrich.
When was that? A few years ago.
2022.
2022. Yeah, that's not a great look.
No, that's a bad look. But yeah, like you said, she beats who she should beat. I think you know what to expect from her at this point. Luana Pinheiro, she just generally just fades really badly in fights as it is, let alone if she faces adversity.
She quits.
Yeah, she's a quitter. Don't like to say that about a lot of fighters, but she definitely gives those vibes. Sub loss to Hill doesn't look good ever. That's a bad one. That's a bad one, especially for someone who's like a judo, high level judoka. That's a bad look.
Mm-hmm.
Hard to argue that she's not going to have a striking advantage here. I don't think she's great on the feet, but Jillian is just so poor. If you can't outstrike her, what are you doing? She can be backed up a little too easy for my liking. She likes to spin a lot, uses a lot of wasted movement. It's probably why she gasses so bad. She's not great defensively. zero head movement, hands way too low. She circles into power. Rebus took advantage of it, and Rebus fucking sucks, in my opinion. She should have a volume advantage here, but she absorbs more shots than she gives out. I also think her wrestling and grappling badly drains her, and she could have a lot of issues with the pace of Robertson. Onto Robertson, her passing ability on top is just so impressive. Not only great top pressure, but she lands really good ground and pound to sort of force you to move and make decisions and make a mistake. And then from there, she'll jump a range of submissions, whether it's staying on top or rolling for armbar entries or legs or things like that. I think she's the far better, smoother, more dangerous grappler in this one for sure. But she's just god awful on the feet, like no technique, no power. For me, it's kind of hard to argue with the finishing game at Robertson in this point in her career. She didn't finish to wash Karate Hottie with a year of top time, but had plenty of deep attempts, and I think she's far more gritty than Pinheiro is, even at that point of her career. So do think that Pinheiro could probably compete on the mat early in terms of negating submissions, but I do think over time she's going to get outworked. It'll fatigue her. I think Robertson round 2 or 3 seems like a pretty good look.
Yep.
What do you think?
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to bring up. There's a few plays that I am eyeing out for this fight. So first, I'll get to Luana Pinheiro. She's coming off consecutive losses. A loss to Angela Hill round 2, like you said. Not a good look, especially because Angela Hill, like, she's good, but like she's the least dangerous, like, fighter in that division
Ever.
And she got submitted by her, and she crumbled against her. Like, she had a good round 1 against Angela Hill, and then you could just see that like Angela Hill was just making her less confident, and I think she crumbled. And she also had a loss against Amanda Ribas. Like you said, she sucks, and she competed well early, and then I think when there's adversity, like she has a bit of like she crumbles. And in this fight, I think Jillian Robertson, she has pretty piss poor stand up, but like that, we know that's not her game. And she actually, funnily enough, doesn't really have the best takedown accuracy. Like she has about a 42% takedown accuracy. Compare that to Pinheiro's 66% takedown defense. I think that Jillian is going to struggle to get Pinheiro down in the first round, but she'll eventually just keep working, and then the second round and third round will get her down. And like you said, Jillian round 2 or 3 is definitely a play I'm eyeing out, and it's good to hear that you might be eyeing out that too. I actually want to have a look at Jillian by TKO.
Yeah, I just had a look at that. It was 550 plus 550.
Plus 550. So Pinheiro, she knows that Jillian is gonna grapple her, gonna try to snatch a sub. Maybe she's like improved her like submission. She's already like solid on the ground, like as it is, right?
Pinheiro.
Yeah, like she has 5 subs.
Yeah, she's supposed to be like a pretty high level judo black belt, I believe.
Yeah, so she already has like a ground game. But I have looked a submission loss to Angela Hill isn't the best look, but she's already got a bit of a ground game going. I think if she's looking at Jillian Robertson and thinking, I must defend subs, she'll put herself in a situation where she could even be grounded and pounded out by Jillian.
Yeah.
12-6 elbow.
If you look at the stats too, Jillian's won 9 submission wins. 3 of them, 2 KOs. Only 3 of the subs are in the first round.
Yeah.
So she's got 5 subs in the second round and 1 sub in the third, and then both of the TKOs are in the second round too. So I feel like if you think she finishes, the stats probably lean towards saying it's later than earlier.
Yeah. So I'd go a Jillian Robinson round 2 or round 3 play, and I might take a stab at the TKO.
Okay. I like it. I might be there with you for sure.
Yeah.
But we're on the same page for sure, right there.
Beautiful.
On to the next one, which is just strange. Any Ricky Tercios fight is strange.
Yeah.
I'll just do the intro, then you can break it down first. So we've got
Yeah.
Ricky Tercios, who is 13-4, coming in here after a loss to Raul Rosas Jr. And then we have Bernardo Sapai, who's coming in here off the back of a vicious knockout loss to Lock Dog Vinicius Oliveira.
That's one of the worst debut
mate,
losses.
Oh, mate, that is it's one of the most brutal finishes you'll see. That was in March and back in November. So what's that? Like 8-9 months, maybe? Not even.
Yeah, that's pretty soon.
8 months after a knockout that bad. So he was probably sparring, after far too early. Anyway, we've got Bernardo, who is minus 280. Actually, it's gone up. Fucking hell, minus 350 right now.
Minus 350.
Taking on Ricky Tercios, who is plus 285. So, lead us off here, brother.
Yeah, man. How do you pronounce his last name again?
Which one?
Bernardo?
Sapai.
Sapai. All right. Yeah, he's young. He's only 24, I believe. Yeah, and like pre UFC, he shows really good potential both on the feet and on the ground. And I think he fought really, really well against Lock Dog. Won that first round, won the first half of that second round, and then he just fell off a cliff right after that. And not only did he gas out, like he was getting some pretty bad damage and work done on him. And by the time of the finish, that was in the last minute, right, of the third round.
It was in the last 10 seconds, I believe.
Last 10 seconds, yeah. At that point,
20 seconds.
Yeah, at that point, he was absolutely done. He was already showing the body language of a guy that's given his all, but just absolutely has nothing left to give. And on top of that, gets that massive flying knee finish. That's career altering nearly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I still really rate him as a fighter. Looking at his tape, I really think he has high potential. And I'd be really worried if he was fighting someone who is a gritty, dangerous pressure fighter with power in his return. But that isn't Ricky Tercios. Tercios, he does a lot, but at the same time doesn't really do anything. He seems like a high volume striker, but he has about a 37% striking accuracy. So against Ayman Zahabi, he landed 27 significant strikes. Can you guess the ballpark number of attempted strikes?
Yeah, so it'll be about 4 times. That would be 100, 115.
Yep. So you're locking in 27 significant strikes, 115 attempted.
Actually, maybe more, because I think that's the fight where he was stomping and doing all that weird ass shit. I'm gonna say 150.
235.
Even better.
So I saw that and I had to I looked at the fight anyway for Zahabi tape from last week. And
so he landed 10% of his strikes in that fight.
Yeah. And it was terrible, man. It was he was pretty much shadow boxing the entire time. And Zahabi just, it was not a good performance. And I just don't think Tercios is dangerous on the feet. He showed aggression against Raul Rosas in the first 10 seconds, but other than that, man, he doesn't, like I said, he does a lot, but at the same time doesn't really do anything. I think his path to victories against opponents is on the ground, as he's pretty tricky, but I think Sopai has him covered there. And on the feet, Sopai is he moves well. He gets in and out of range quickly, swings hard and fast. I'm impressed by his takedown entries and top control, to be honest. What he did against Lock Dog in that first round was great. I'm leaning Sopai to win this fight by decision. He's way better on the feet, and I don't think he's going to get hurt by Tercios's pitter-patter strikes if they do land. Both good scramblers and active on the ground, but Sopai is heavier, got heavier top control and a bit stronger, and I can see him avoiding any sub threats from Tercios. So Yeah, I think Sopai's coming back into this. He did look like he had octagon jitters in that first fight, and after getting KO'd in that fashion, he might get octagon jitters again in this fight. So I think he's not gonna. I think he might be a bit tentative. So I don't think he'll aim to get a finish. Tercios is not someone that gets finished easily anyway. Like other than that Rosas fight where he got choked out. But yeah, I think Sopai by decision.
Yep. Yeah, I'm pretty much have the exact same breakdown as you. Like, Tercios is just one of the weirdest fighters you're ever going to see in your life. Like, just a god awful level of striking overall. Super unconventional. Uses just bizarre angles. A lot of wasted movements. He does things that he thinks are feint, but feints have a purpose in that they set things up or they allow other strikes to be more advantageous than they might have been without a feint. What he does isn't feinting. It's wasted movement. It's shadow boxing. It's like the Amanda Ribas, like, you know how I get so pissed off with the Amanda Ribas, like, hip feint, wheel kick, hip feint thing? Like, she does that 500 times a fight, and it does nothing. It sets up nothing. For me, like, he's got no power in his hands. He does have good volume output in terms of optics, so he could win an eye test, but again, depends on what's coming back at him. Massive question on his takedown defense. I think he can be out-wrestled and out-muscled at times. I think he's a bit of a dweeb, a bit of a weasel, and it's reflective in his stats with, a 45% takedown defense. I can't deny that he does try to work off bottom, but he can actually work himself into worse positions against people who are relatively good on the ground. He also had what would have probably been a fight-ending rear naked choke for anybody besides Rosas Jr., given his malformed fucking chin jaw in their fight. So it's not the worst look overall. Like, he had him in a deep rear naked choke at one point. So to get that on rail was pretty impressive. And he probably finishes that fight against most people. I think he's, in terms of Sapai, I think he's a really good fighter overall. He's got good power, got a very effective wrestling game to get the fight to the ground, and he does land solid ground and pound. He fights out of orthodox, pretty technical Muay Thai style on the feet. Can be a little bit low volume at times, but when he hurts you, he does have serious finishing instinct. Took the fight with Vinicius Oliveira on stupidly short notice. Like you said, I thought he looked really good early, and I honestly thought he probably could have finished him at multiple points, but he eventually had too much output. He gassed really bad, and he got punished for it. Round 3 was a really bad look for him, losing almost every basic technical trick you're taught in MMA as he fatigued harder, but also kind of hard to deny that Lockdog has such an incredible size and physicality advantage in all his fights, but specifically in that fight with Sopai. I definitely worry about his durability on his return after that bad of a KO, but he isn't really a fighter that normally... He's not super hittable, and he's not standing in front of you unless he's death gassed, and he's fighting Tercios, who is like on the lower end of the power scale. So overall, I think Bernardo definitely should be favoured. Concerned for sure over that return from KO, but Tercios not an effective or powerful striker to take advantage of it, I don't think anyway. So have to have a striking edge for Bernardo, and in terms of pure wrestling edge, should have success here. I could see him finishing Ricky on the mat with ground and pound, but Ricky's slippery and could force some weird scrambles and probably neutralise position a little. Hard to get an overall read for me, but Sapai deserve favourite for sure. And I think over.
Yep.
Over 2.5 as well was minus 180. So not a terrible price, I wouldn't say.
Yeah, minus 180. Parlay piece.
Potentially. All right, so now we're going on to middleweight. Do you want me to lead this one?
Yeah, I don't really have the best read on this fight.
All right, no worries. So we've got... This is the main event. Can we be real?
Yeah.
GM3 on UFC Apex. UFC Vegas 100. Doesn't get any better than this, boys.
Yep.
So you got GM3 37-17, which is just insane.
Yeah. 29 subs.
54 fights in his MMA career, and honestly, he fights at like good volume. I reckon Misha would be making bank.
Yeah, he would
At,
be, man.
at this point, he's been in the UFC since when's his first one? 2016.
Mm.
So 8 years. So he's probably been through about 3 contracts. I reckon he's probably making good money. Um, I mean, you know what to expect when you have a Gerald Misha fight at this point in his career. He's got very awkward striking offense that doesn't do a whole lot, but buy time really. He kind of just mainly operates at kicking range, but his game plan really is to just wear you down and grind on you by you beating him up. Basically, he needs you to have success, and then fatiguing enough. And then his opponent fatigues enough for him to take over with his grappling to catch you in a sub in round 2 or 3. More or less, that's the GM3 game plan. Striking defense is incredibly bad. His head never moves defensively, and his guard is way too low, especially his lead hand. I also kind of just think he doesn't really see shots coming well. Just given how many times he moves into shots against the fence, moving backwards, he's just so vulnerable. It's definitely a concern, but at this point in his career, he doesn't care enough to fix it, obviously, and it's just his fight style. Has to be one of the more valuable fighters in the UFC, given how many times he's saluted at like big dog odds, especially if you play him round 2 or 3. In terms of his wrestling, it's kind of okay. Like he can get in on the hips pretty well, but he's not just going to blast W across the cage. He's not that athletic, and he just is kind of a smart grappler. He's one of the most slick guys we've seen in terms of pure submission ability in the UFC, which kind of feels weird to say because he's like pretty low level overall. Onto Renier de Ridder. So, just for anyone who doesn't know who de Ridder is, he is a former one championship champion. He lost to Anatoly Malikin twice in heavyweight and light heavyweight. So, he's coming in here actually after a tune-up fight on UAE Warriors, which is a pretty like respectable Middle East MMA promotion. So I think that's a good look, like because he only had those 2 fights. He had the first Malikan fight in 2022, late 2022 December, which he lost by a pretty bad. Just got bashed basically, and then 2024 of March he lost again to Malikan for the second belt, which was light heavyweight, and then he's had a tune-up fight in July, which he dominated. So I think that's a pretty good lead up into this fight. It's an interesting entry to the UFC for de Ridder. Like he is quite a well-respected fighter in the space, given his status over with one championship. I do think it's probably simmered a touch since his 2 losses to Anatoly, but you can't deny that Malikin is like a really tough matchup for RDR stylistically. And when you pair it with Anatoly Malikin being juiced to the complete gills, I honestly don't think it's that bad of a loss. He doesn't offer much on the feet, RDR. It's only really kicks out of southpaw, and he just needs to get the fight to the ground in order to have success. He does have a very, very, very good guard, super dangerous off his back. And when he's working on top, he's good. He's good from both on top and on bottom, which I like in this matchup, given he'll potentially be on either, but on the mat. Limited offensive wrestling in terms of pure double legs, but he is pretty good when he gets a body lock and can work from single legs well, as he's handy with trips and throws against the cage. Overall for this fight, I think the marketing for this fight is kind of bizarre. Like, you have a pretty well-known commodity in the MMA space in de Ridder, and you've also got a reputable vet in Meerschaert who's never really had a boring fight, and this fight barely scraped onto the main card of UFC Vegas 100. And I haven't heard a thing about it. It's got no push. So, like, in my head, I'm kind of like, are they bringing RDR in for, like, a genuinely good run in what should be the prime of his career, as he's, like, 32, 34? Or have they just thrown him a lifeline, given the end of his one career and that he last fought at UAE Warriors? Maybe he's trying to get paychecks? I don't know. It's confusing, but I don't think GM3 has enough on the feet to really worry de Ridder enough and get him as scared as he was to engage with Malikin.
Do you think GM3 has the better striking?
Oh, I don't think he's got a better striking against many people, really.
Yeah.
I think it's close. I think it'd be close. I probably favour the Ritter's kicks.
Mm.
And I don't think Mearshot has enough power to really worry him on the feet anyway. So it's not a massive concern for me. And given De Ritter has size advantage, I think De Ritter's definitely will have striking success as well. I think it'll be fine on the feet. I think it'll be competitive. I think GM3 probably could have wrestling success, but I don't think RDR will be like upset to tangle on the ground. I think he'll be fine to get taken down if Mearshot wants to try and take him down. They're both legit grapplers. We should see some really fun scrambles in this one. I favour De Ritter just on a size, physicality, and kind of youth advantage at this point. I think he offers maybe slightly more on the feet, and on the mat, it's pretty close. So I have to side RDR.
Yep. I definitely agree with you on those points. When I came into this matchup, I thought, fuck, like because I'd never heard of De Ritter before this, so I was thinking, yeah, like I remember seeing like a pretty nice price on GM3 money line, so I had a look into De Ritter, and I thought, yeah, like this is the type of guy that can beat a GM3. Like you said, he's got the physicality, the youth advantage. He's 34, but so I just wonder what his ceiling is in the UFC. Like he'll be, I think he'll do all right against a Roman Dolidze, a Jack Hermanson. This is middleweight, right? Yeah,
Middleweight, yeah.
Jack Hermanson. Trying to think of others, but maybe even a Kevin Holland. They might just throw him against Kevin Holland, but
Yeah.
I don't think he will do good against like the Nasruddin and Marvovs or Caio Barralios. And that's not to say that like they have better grappling than him, but like Deridia, like he has obviously, like you said, he has like amazing grappling, but he looks so uncomfortable whenever the fight is on the feet. And he has looked good at times against shorter opponents. Like he's good at timing that knee, but he kind of gets exposed against like the taller guys on the feet. But he gets away with it because he could just get him like straight to the ground. He has that strength advantage. What I do like about De Ritter is he's never content with just securing top positions and riding out the rounds. Like he's always looking for a finish, and like that has put him in danger a few times, right? Like
RDR?
Yeah. So he's a submission over position kind of guy, but yeah, he's gotten away in those fights by being just like the much better grappler. Here, GM3 is so opportunistic, and honestly, if you don't get him out of there early, he'll probably make it a close fight towards the end, or he could submit you. Like that last win against Edmund Shabazian was the most GM3 win I've ever seen.
Literally, that is a GM3 fight. Like that round 2 is just GM3 personified.
Yeah. We had a play on GM3 submission round 3, right?
Yes, we did. Yes, I don't know. I always do round 2 and 3 together, and that time I didn't. I don't know why.
God, Zig okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that would have been good. Like I had the same read in that fight. It was either going to be a Shabazian round 1 or early round 2, which it was shaping out to be that way. But when I saw that GM3 survived that first 10, 15 seconds of Edmund's onslaught, I'm thinking, oh, here we go.
Yeah, exactly.
GM3 is going to get a sub or like a finish at some point. Please make it be the round 3, but had to get it in round 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I thought I would take a dog shot on Mearshot because of the fact that De Ritter, like he puts himself in dangerous situations, but I think De Ritter's got him covered here, and I have a feeling this might be an underperformance kind of spot for him. Like
for GM3?
Yeah, for De Ritter against GM3. Like,
yeah.
I mean, the UFC might be looking to set him up here with someone beatable, but I think GM3 is so good at hanging in there, and since he's already a good grappler, I think it's a situation where De Ritter will look great round 1, most of round 2, and then round 3, like Mearshart puts it on him. And yeah, I'd lean a Derrida decision here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like a weird one to get an overall read on because, like I said, the promotion has been so little. Like, you haven't even heard them talk about RDR. So I'm kind of like confused as to why they're bringing him in if they're not even going to promote him. Because he's got like, people know him already. He's got a following. He's got a profile in the sport already. So I'm just so confused why they're not taking advantage of that. I've got a question here. It says, how far do you guys think RDR can go in the division? He's 34 now, but primes are different now.
Maybe top 15 at most.
Yeah, it's confusing because like he should be in his athletic prime right now, I'd say. 34, like early 30s is generally your prime for most people. If you look at the middleweight rankings, I'll start at 15 and you just say yes or no, and I'll say yes or no. Whether you think he beats him. Michelle Pereira, yes or no?
Yes.
I'd almost say no. I think Michelle would dice him on the feet.
Like round one, like if he survives round one.
But we just saw Michelle survive almost 5 rounds with Fluffy, who's like a pace monster.
True.
I don't know. I think it'd be close. So yeah. I'm gonna lean no. Shara Magomedov. No. Maybe. Like, yeah, it's striker versus grappler.
Yeah,
maybe. Hernandez, no. Hermanson,
no.
Yeah, unlikely. I think Hermanson's a better striker. Paulo Costa,
maybe.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah.
When have we seen Paulo? Maybe.
Yeah.
But Delidze, maybe.
Yeah.
Brendan Allen?
No.
Cannonier?
Maybe in this stage of his career.
Yeah, true. He's getting old. Vittori?
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's
definitely not getting past like the Imavovs and Baralios.
I don't think he's going to go past top 10, to be honest. His skill set's too limited.
Yeah.
He will have success with guys just on the cusp, I think, just because he's so dangerous off his back and with his submissions. But in terms of a proper run, his striking defense is just way too bad. I don't think he's going to be able to compete at the highest level, personally.
Yeah, I agree.
I'd love to be proven wrong, though, because he's a fun fighter. Like,
yeah,
he's only been in this decision twice. But the other sort of question I had as well is, like, who's he beating? Who's he beating over at 1? Because generally they're not really good grapplers. Like, Al Longansung, he's like a Myanmar hero. He beat him by decision, but that guy, I can't grapple for shit. And then he's got Abasov after that, who was, I think he was the middleweight champion at the time, and he just dominated him. But he was so much bigger, and he had nothing for him. Big Dash, I don't even know who he was, but he was competing for the light heavyweight. And have you seen that fight, Vitaly Big Dash?
Nah, didn't see
that. Man, go back and watch that. RDR gets like the tightest inverted triangle on him. It's so nasty. He lets go of it, and you can just see like his whole neck is just cut off from blood from like there to there. It's just white. It's like, it's horrible. So to answer your question, how far do you guys think you can go? Probably, I don't think top 15. I think
at most, yeah.
Love to be proven wrong though. Would love to be. All right, so we've only got a few fights left. I think we've got 2 to go.
Yep.
So we have Cody. This is the co-main event. Cody No Love Garbrandt, 14-6, taking on Miles Johns, who is 15-2. We have Garbrandt coming into this one after a loss to Figgy. Figgy's move up to bantamweight, where he lost by submission in round 2. Before that, he had a win over Kelleher, round 1 knockout, and then Trevor Jones decision. Before that, a couple of losses. And then you've got Miles Johns, who's coming in here after a pretty disgusting win against Douglas Silva de Andrade in what was like a horrible fight to watch live and then also watch back on tape. That was horrible.
Didn't enjoy that.
No, and then Cody Gibson, that fight was just fucked as well. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like watching this guy fight, man.
Nah,
I don't know about you.
don't rate him.
Lead us off.
Yeah, mate. So I've faded Miles Johns in his last 2 fights, and while he's proved me wrong, I'm still not sold, which is funny because his head coach is Trey Ogden. He's a guy that I wasn't sold on as well, but like now I really rate him highly. And yeah, against Cody Gibson, I think I underestimated Miles Johns' ability to out-grapple and outwork him. Like I think Cody Gibson overperforming against Brad Katona and Ray Borg in losses kind of swayed me to think that Gibson was definitely would compete better than he did. And plus, like he's at that point he was coming off those wins in the Ultimate Fighter, veterans versus prospects, where I'm pretty sure like one prospect got a win.
Yeah.
So
it was dominant.
Yeah, and then they like Brad Katona was in the veterans and he had to move to prospects. Yeah, so that fight he absolutely he outworked Gibson, but like I still wasn't impressed. He was still breathing heavy in round 3.
Yeah.
And
I think Gibson had a knee injury like in that fight, or
he fought weird too, man.
Before. Yeah.
He fought really weird in that fight. And Douglas Silva, the Andrade. So I had a play on the Andrade to win in round 3 against Miles Johns because I wasn't confident that Douglas would win the fight, but I thought Miles would gas at some point, and I thought Miles would fight the way he did against Cody Gibson, and then gas around round 2 and 3, breathe heavy, and then Douglas, who's like just good at hanging in there, would find the shot. But Miles like approached this fight really, really differently. Like he was very tentative, and I think that came down to Douglas's power threat. Miles, he was very patient early. He was getting out of the way. He was like looking for counters, but he wasn't forcing anything. And I think from round 2 and round 3 onwards, he figured out that Douglas would just stay there with his like hands down here, and that's where he started like landing his hooks and having confidence to stay forward. Like no matter what, if Douglas came in an attack and then Miles would counter, Douglas, his feet would just stay there. And when Miles would go forward on him, Douglas would just move back in a straight line and was easy to get hit. So I think Miles kept that at a good pace where he couldn't tire out. One thing about Miles that I didn't like is there's no straight shots. Like his only straight shot is his jab. And it's like a pawing kind of jab to set up his other shots. Like he just throws hooks. He just throws overhands. And someone with good counter striking can definitely put him away like that. He's already been knocked out, right, in the UFC?
Miles?
Yeah.
Castaneda. Yeah, Bautista knocked him out.
Bautista knocked him out, yeah.
Yeah, that was in that was a while ago, 2020, and then Castaneda subbed him in round 3. Yeah.
And yeah, so against Cody Garbrandt, like this guy has his career trajectory has went a whole different direction to what we thought it was going to go after his title win. I thought he was going to be like a bantamweight goat after that. Like that was one of the best performances I've ever seen from a challenger in a title fight.
Yeah.
And after that, he had those 2 knockout losses to TJ Dillashaw where he just went low IQ, just saw red, and then just got hit with these like really clean shots. And after that, like had a few more like pretty devastating losses against Munoz and Kai Kara France. But I think it's going to be weird for me to say this, but I don't think his chin is as bad as it really is. Like those TJ shots, they were sharp and precise, and he was like, it was more so Cody like seeing red and being emotional and just got hit like in the chin really hard. Against Munoz and Kai Kara France, they're like big power punches, and they swung and they like landed in the right spots. It was a TKO. He was definitely definitely out, but yeah, that didn't put his lights out. And he took Rob Font's best shots, like went the whole 5 round distance with him. And I think Rob Font is levels ahead of Miles Johns. But I'm not trying to do MMA math here, so I think Cody's game is active footwork. He has diverse attacks, like his blitzes forward. He's so fast, man. He'll look to counter sometimes, and he has a variety of kicks, like those leg kicks he does, and he'll throw a takedown out there here and there. But what's cost him throughout his career is his low IQ and recklessness. And I think if he's zoned in this fight, he can absolutely win. I think if he fights similar to the way he did against Trevin Jones, which that was a pretty boring fight. Like, the crowd was booing, like at some points in that fight. But man, like he was constantly moving his feet. He was dancing around, like literally dancing at some points. Kept himself safe. He was feinting to get reactions. He landed shots in blitzes and gets out of the way, threw a lot of kicks. And I think he could even shoot a takedown here, though Miles Johns' takedown defense is all right, and his grappling is good. So I think Cody's power threat will make Johns as tentative as he was against Douglas Silva Andrade, which was a much slower fight for him. Hence why he didn't gas out or get tired. And I think Johns will struggle to get a read on Cody's speed and like movement. Like I think it's just gonna trouble him. He hasn't fought anyone with that kind of movement before, and I just think as long as Cody doesn't get too reckless and stupid, he can overwhelm Johns. And Johns, he doesn't have the precise striking game to make Cody lose confidence on the feet. Like he has loopy punches, and I honestly think Cody can probably take one of those loopy punches, like if it lands clean. I don't see any value in Miles Johns as the favorite against someone who skill for skill is way better than him. I just think these odds are based on Cody's downward career trajectory. I lost to Figgy. He looked good against Figgy until he got taken down and submitted. But we know now that Figgy at this weight is the real deal. Like he's only gotten better. And yeah, like also the questions about Cody's chin plays a part. But Miles Johns being on a streak against favorable matchups, I think, is why he's favored in this fight. I don't know. I think Cody wins this, and I think it might even be a finish. Like that might be like I might look stupid at the end after Saturday by saying that, but yeah, I got Cody to take this fight.
It's gross to say, eh?
Yeah.
At this point in 2024, it feels wrong.
Yeah, it feels wrong to predict Cody.
But I kind of agree with you. Like, I don't know. I just don't think. I think Miles is going to be at such a severe speed disadvantage, whether it's footwork in and out or just in terms of pure hand speed. I think Cody can land 2 or 3 shots before Miles even landed one overhand.
Yeah,
and yeah, he might land it, but I don't think his timing or his speed is good enough to get Cody coming in. And if Miles is going first, I think the footwork of Cody could probably keep him on the outside. And I don't think Miles can operate at like an insane pace to outpace Cody or outvolume him. So he kind of has to be TKO or bust here, in my opinion. And could he knock him out? Sure, I think anyone could knock Cody out at this point. But I don't know how you get to him as a favourite price. So I'm with you. I think 1 plus 140 on Cody.
Plus 140 now.
Yeah, it just went up. I feel like it's horrific to put money on, but I feel like you almost have to.
I think I might lock that in as my desperate times play of the week.
Yeah,
money line on Cody.
We should do we'll do it at the end. We'll do like a wager wise parlay or something, or we'll put our best plays out.
I wouldn't parlay this one.
No, I think you should. No. Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of get to Miles as a favorite price. I think he's just average everywhere. Cody Gibson is average, like below average potentially. and he had like a super tough fight. I think Miles Johns loses round 3 at a ginormous clip in this fight, which means he has to win round 1 and 2.
Yeah.
To be favoured, and I'm not even sure he can do that. So,
and that's a fresh Cody. That's just moving, and he has good optics.
Yeah, I think he's the A side for sure. Could you knock him out? Sure.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll be happy to go down with a ship again. It's gonna hurt to see though. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm on the same side. I've got a question here. How do you guys feel about champions like Cody who don't defend? Are they still one of the best fighters in the division's history? So many fighters don't win the belt. You go.
Don't defend. Like, don't
have title defense.
Oh yeah, because he lost to TJ, right?
Yeah.
I think, yeah, you can't really put too much stock on. You can't they won the belt, amazing. They've already reached that champions pedestal right there. But then when you're comparing champions to champions, you gotta always the ones that are active and always defending. They're the ones that like you look at and be like, yeah, like that's how you look at them as like one of the best in history. That's why Dominic Cruz, you look at him, one of the best in history, even if Cody like had that amazing performance against him. TJ, did he defend it? Yeah, he defended against Cody, like successful.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think like you can acknowledge a really amazing performance, like what he had against Cruz, but when it comes to comparing him to a bantamweight champion before him, like Hanan Barao or TJ or Dom or any of those guys, it's kind of hard to stack him up when he doesn't have any defenses of that title. So, yeah, I'm a complete same boat as you. Yeah, so we're both agreeing that somehow in 2024, Cody is the betting side.
Cody is the side.
Oh, God.
I'll sink in this ship if we get proved wrong, but...
Oh, God. All right.
Yeah.
Main event time, baby. So, welterweight main event, we've got Neil...
This is shameful matchmaking.
We've got Neil Magny, 29-13, coming up against Carlos Prates, who his performances in the UFC have been nothing short of incredible so far, really. Like, you can see a real improvement in his overall game as it's going. Like, watching him on Contender Series against Mitch Ramirez, I was like impressed. I'm like, fuck, this guy's got just a pure striking frame. Like, he has just a proper Muay Thai frame, like long fucking legs, really hard shins, long arms, just a good range to operate in for his style, which I like. I wasn't like super impressed against Ramirez because I think Ramirez is a bit of a scrub. But you can't deny that he's finishing all these dudes. And again, while he did have a poor performance against Trevin Giles, he won the fight and he finished him. So
that was a weird one.
While he lost round 1, probably, he doesn't matter because he finished him. Same as Charles Radke, pretty competitive first round, like I said earlier in the Radke breakdown, but he finished him. So, like, what can you say? Same as Li Jingliang, that one was a bit more dominant.
So dominant.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever seen Leach, besides Hamzat, but I don't think we've seen him dominated like on the feet like that before. So pretty impressive stuff there. And now he gets Neil Magny, who, let me just go through his so he's coming off a round 1 loss to Morales in August, and then he had the beautiful win against Mike Mallet, round 3. Jeez, that's one of the best.
Insane.
That's just one of the best cashes in the group. In the group, we tipped Neil Magny to beat Mike Mallet in round 3 at like plus 3,000, I think it was, something like that. And then
how much did you put on it?
I think it was like a half a unit. That might be a bit, maybe like 0.35 of a unit, something like that.
Yeah. Wow, that's
But
still
I think we also had Magny Moneyline. We had Magny Moneyline, Magny round 3. And that was on the DEB card, and it was just unbelievable. I can remember the moment like in my head so clearly. But you know what to expect with this guy. Like, he is the litmus test for the division. If you're good enough to compete top 15, you're going to beat this guy. If you're not, he's going to beat you. He just sort of like his striking's ugly. He's a clinch monster. Really, is what he is at this point in his career. Like, he'll get you up against the clinch. He'll get you in the clinch up against the cage, and sort of win minutes. He's okay off his back, but he's not amazing. He's going to be at a severe striking disadvantage here. Like, he hasn't been able to check a leg kick in like 5 fights against poorer strikers than Prates, and now he's going to defend a leg kick. Do you really think that?
no.
Maybe he's got ground game upside in this one, but Prates has looked so solid. Just being able to win underhooks and get the fight back at range, and if he gets in the clinch, he's not taking big damage. He's got the Thai history, so he's good in the clinch himself. He's got good elbows, good neck, really good knees to the body. I just think he's damaging, man. Like, everything he throws has a reason. Outside leg kicks is obviously to slow your movement down, and then he'll attack the body to just weaken you, and then he'll go up top. Like, he targets all 3 levels really well. He's just a high-level striker. And while Magny might have ground game upside, I think this is a pretty clear Prates spot at the point in the career. So, not a whole lot. I mean, what are we doing here?
Minus 1,000
already. Minus 750.
Minus 750.
Not getting to that in the slightest. But
how much is a sub
for Prates?
For Prates,
it's only plus 900. I thought it'd be more.
Yeah.
That's my read. Like, I think they're setting Prates up for a win against a winnable guy. How does Magny win? A late sub, maybe, if anything?
I don't see him winning. Like, I really don't.
You don't see any path?
No. Like, I think this is just the most shameful, like, setup spot, like, ever. Magny, age 37. Like, they've just been trying to, like, give setup spots for him. Like, in his last 3 fights, Magny's faced 3 prospects. Morales KO'd him in the first. Like, I had money on Morales KO, which was a good cash because everyone expected Morales to just... He's a decisionator, right? That's what people reckon. And Magny is someone that can, like, hang around till the last bell. So when I saw Morales get that, it was like a spinning elbow and then just finished him on the ground. Like, I was cheering. That was great. Then Malott, like, you covered that. That was hell of a... probably one of the best, like, round 3 bets you'll ever see. And that loss to Ian Gary, where he just literally... I think it's worse of a look for Gary, who couldn't finish him in that fight. Prates, like, he's switch stance. He's a switch stance fighter. Incredible Muay Thai striking. One-shot KO power. And he's got really good defense. Like, he didn't show that defense against Trevin Giles for some reason. But against... what's his name? Who did he fight last again? Li. Yeah, he looked like it looked like a movie. It looked like a scene from a movie. Yeah. I think I don't really see a path for Magny other than, like, a late finish again. And even then, like, I don't even think he can survive the stand up. Like you said, everything Prates does is powerful, and it's just does something to him. And I honestly see, like, a round 1 or 2, like, KO. I don't see anything other than, like, a early finish for Prates.
Yeah, he's just so good at his targeting. It's very specific, and it's just elite, man. Like, he's going to butcher the legs of Magny. There's no way around that. There's no way Magny can defend that. And then I think once he starts having success to the legs, it's going to open up to the body. which
Yeah.
he showed that he can target like perfectly. He threw, like I said, in that Radke fight, he was looking for that the whole fight. So clearly he game plans well. His frame is good for the division. Way more power.
He's a fighting nerd.
He is a fighting nerd, and they're flying at the moment.
Yeah, one of the best like teams at the moment. Hey.
Yeah. So minus 750 is insanity.
Yeah.
But he should win, and he should win. He should finish. If
What's
he
in the
doesn't finish,
distance?
he's probably done poorly, I'd say.
Yeah. What's in the distance?
Minus 400.
Ooh. What's round 1? Round 2?
Prates round 1 plus 200. Prates round 2 plus 350.
Plus 350.
I feel like he's kind of hard to get read on round props because he could finish him in round 1, but I also think he could finish him in round 4 if he like goes at a slow pace and sort of just chips away.
Yeah.
So I feel like that might be a hard one. I mean, props are just disgusting for this. Prates by TKO is minus 300.
Yeah, nah. I'd look at a Prates round 2, to be honest.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, like I don't have. This is the main event, but this is the fight I got the least to say.
Yeah,
about. It's just such a shameful like setup spot. Like you have Neil Magny, who's been to the like promotion for like so long, who like takes like these hard fights, and this fight is just a clear setup shot. Like Dana and the matchmakers are like they're going like that.
yeah. Let's see if he can deliver. We've got a question. Comment says it's coming here. It's cool to see Carlos turn a corner. He was 7-5 at one point.
Yeah,
I think you can see like he was losing a few times by sub. He actually fought Dave Ledoux. Do you know that guy?
Dave Ledoux, not.
He's like the they call him. I'm pretty sure this is the guy they call like the godfather of that fucked Thai sport where they use the wraps as the glove. I can't remember the name of it. It's not Muay Thai, but it's like they don't use gloves; they use wraps.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've seen it. It's brutal. It's fucking brutal.
What Thai boxing or something? Or?
No, it's like it's got a proper name. I can't remember the name of it, but he's fought that guy in Muay Thai. He actually fought Joe Luciano as well from Absolute MMA.
All right.
And that's sort of where his career took a turn. So he's clearly just linked up with. I'd be curious to see when he linked up with Fighting Nurse specifically, as to when his career really started to take off. I'd have to assume after working with guys like Caio Bahalio and his ground game and stuff like that, it's improved. He's actually got a win over Charles Oliveira as well.
Yeah, I saw that.
Not the real one, but just another one. But yeah, that kind of wraps up the card for the main part. I don't know if there's many people tuning in. It says 61 views. I don't know if that's live or across the whole thing or whatever. But if anyone's got any questions or for the whole card or anything they want to know, let us know before we log off quickly. We can answer some questions or do whatever. I guess, Ryan, let's do a parlay.
Oh,
We'll do a wager-wise parlay, a 2-legger. You pick one leg, I'll pick one leg, and then we'll ride it.
Okay.
What have you got?
So, did you mention Mansour Abdul Malik earlier, like just his money line?
Yep.
Yeah, so what's that at? Minus
340.
Minus 340. All right.
Let me open up
I'll put that one.
Let me open up my betting app and we'll put these two in and see what they come to. So you like Mansour Malik money line?
Money line.
All right. I reckon I might go. Oh, geez, it's tricky, isn't it?
It's not really like a parlay kind of card.
No, it's like who do you want to trust least?
Like it's not one of those cards where you have like juiced up favorites.
There is, I mean, there's a lot of them, but I'm not parlaying minus 750.
Yeah.
All right. What about this? Since we were both so confident in Gomez inside the distance,
Yeah.
what do you
Gomez
think?
inside the- Yeah.
So we'll do that. I can't. I don't have a. I don't have props. Haven't opened on my book yet. But plus 210, so 310 and minus 300. That should be pretty good.
Yeah.
We'll put up. I'll put up a post. I'll make a graphic and we'll put it up.
Yeah.
Someone said trying to scan over 309 quickly. Since it's the next card, I haven't done. I mean, we could chat about it quickly, but I don't have. I haven't done any tape on it yet.
Yeah.
So,
No, I haven't looked.
yeah, we'll save it for. Is that's next week's card?
That's
I'm
next
assuming.
week. Yeah. You
Yeah,
tune in
sweet.
around next week on a
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Yeah, we're going to go live next Tuesday for that one, so a little bit
Yeah.
earlier. So we'll do that then.
It'll be different times each week too. Like I work shift work, so it'll
Yeah.
either be Tuesday, Wednesday, or Wednesday or Tuesday.
Yeah, most of the time it's just supposed to. I mean, I know it's a live stream, but yeah, obviously meant to be watched back, whether you watch it on Twitter or you watch it on YouTube. So yeah, and as I said, this is our first like real taken episode. We're just trying to get the reps in of speaking on camera a bit more, and we'll obviously iron out the process and it'll be a bit quicker. But yeah, hopefully everyone's enjoyed. Yeah, if you want to learn more about us, you can go to my Twitter provide pics. Like I said, I've got a premium tipping group where we cover all sorts of sports, whether it's Australian sports or American sports like NBA, NFL, football, MMA. Obviously, I employ a few different cappers and they run their own sports in there. So yeah, that's been pretty good. Ryan, do you want to know where to let them follow you?
Yeah. On Twitter, I'm at what is my Twitter? Just type in on Twitter Desperate Times Ryan, and I should be up there. I post free picks throughout the week, and yeah, currently up about 18 units this year. I was up way more, but then had like some shocking. It's always the pay-per-view cards, right?
That's tricky.
Yeah, those are the tricky ones. But yeah, I post free picks there like during the week.
Beautiful, and we'll obviously release things on our socials, whether it's being content to do with stuff we talked about in here or whatnot. So make sure you follow us over there for more. Sounds good, sounds fire. Yo, Dana said Oliveira versus Chandler is the number one contender fight. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I reckon number one contender fight for the Conor McGregor fight potentially. So yeah, sweet. All right, well that wraps us up here anyway. Yeah, good first episode. I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked. First episode of Wager Wise.
Yep, episode 1 of the book. All right, before we finish, we'll just go through this. Just say who you like, or a play you like. Mullins, Sagula.
Mullins.
Pass.
Pass, yeah.
Treshawn Gore, Truckley.
Gore.
Yeah, I'd probably lean Gore. Disgusting though. Stamen or Blackshear?
Blackshear.
Yeah, I'm with you. Semmelsberger, Radke.
Radke.
Yeah, Radke and like under 2.5 in that one, I think.
Under 2.5, yeah.
Bolaños, Romeus.
Romeus, but not as confident.
Yeah, I wouldn't play him, but I think he probably should win. Kovacevic, Gomez.
Gomez in the distance.
Yep, couldn't agree more. Probably one of my more confident players of the week. Abdul Malik and Todorovic.
Abdul Malik, for sure.
Yeah, Abdul Malik by brutal knockout, I think. Pinheiro, Robertson.
Robertson, and hopefully by a TKO.
Yeah, I think Robertson
round 2 and 3.
Yeah, I think that too. Terstio Sabai.
Sapai.
Yeah, I think Sabai too, probably by decision. Meerschaert, Derrida.
Derrida?
Yeah, Derrida too. Sub or points. Maybe sub, not 100% there. Cody and Miles Johns.
I got Cody.
I got
Cody. I got Cody.
Oh, I got Cody too. That's just the worst thing I've ever heard. And Magny and Prates.
Prates. Can we go back to Cody? Have you seen his tattoo?
Yes, I have on his eye.
Oh, it gets worse and worse every time I see it.
Yeah, he must look in the mirror and go, "What have I done to myself?"
Yeah, like the idea is like even then the idea is pretty shit. But
Grappling Master MMA said, "No way, Cody Nochin has anything left to offer." Yeah, there is the potential that might happen.
yeah, I'm not gonna like disagree. I'm just,
I do, we both disagree, but I mean, you're talking about plus
I mean,
140 versus minus 140. It's not like
yeah,
he's a juiced up favorite.
yeah. Like we're looking at this from like a betting angle
Yeah,
too.
100%. I'm
Like you
happy to.
see those numbers. If Cody was the heavy favorite in this fight somehow, then I'd look at it like that. But
Yeah,
you have Cody as a plus 140, right?
plus 140. Yeah,
Plus 140 against Miles Johns, who's not that good. Yeah, I have to lean Cody there.
yeah, I'm with you. All right, guys, we'll sign off on that. Good luck this weekend. If you want the full betting card from either of us, make sure you follow us on the socials and flick us a message, and we'll go from there. So beautiful. Episode 1 done, and see you guys in the next one.
Undusted.